I'm Dawn Weber, the Director of Human Resources, and I don't want to stop the dialogue that's going on because I think that's as important as what I'm going to show you on the screen. So, you know, if you have ideas and suggestions, please throw it out because we talk about this weekly, if not daily. How do we get to the youth and how do we let people know about what our careers are and that it is very sophisticated and state-of-the-art. So I'm going to start by, I think all of you have the agenda for today in front of you, and then also included in your packet is a copy of this presentation and some information on our Royle University, which is a way that we help to groom people as well. So who we are a printing company that produces catalogs and magazines. We produce quantities that range anywhere from 10,000 up into the millions. From a client perspective, we have over 400 customers that touch across almost every conceivable industry. We have 90% of our business outside of the state of Wisconsin, and no one client that represents more than 4 to 5% of our business. So as a small privately held company, I think it's really important to understand really how diverse we are. And then people will say, gosh, print, why would somebody want to go into print with electronic mediums and everything? Why would somebody want a career in that industry? You know, back in the Great Recession, I think marketers really realized when they tried to push through everything in that electronic format, it went where? Junk mail, spam, right? So nobody ever saw it. At least when you get a catalog at home and you're taking it out of the mailbox, you're forced to take a look at it as you're discarding it. If it grabs your attention, you go to their website for their broader offering and then you place your order that way. So we very much complement the electronic age versus really competing with them or being negatively impacted by that. And I might get this statistic wrong, so Chris Hayhopping, if you'd like to. Chris is our Director of Sales. The largest growing demographic of subscribers of magazines are males in their early to late teens to late 30s, early 40s, and it's primarily sports driven. So I think personally, I don't know how you feel, but when I get home, the last thing that I want to do is get onto my iPad or connect to another electronic device because you get sucked in, and all of a sudden 2 hours has passed by that you didn't intend. If you pick up that magazine once you get home, you look at the content you're interested in, maybe spend 20, 30 minutes on it, and then you're on with the rest of your evening, but it doesn't consume everything about you. So print is very much a viable industry that will be with us for a long time. So our culture is very important to us. We're a very paternalistic organization, both from a client perspective and an employee perspective. There's a lot of things that we do in addition to offering a competitive wage and benefit package. We set out fresh food for our employees twice a week at no cost. We have fresh popcorn every day. Tried to flip that, but they like the popcorn better. We have company-wide cookouts every couple months. We just celebrated our 70th anniversary. We hosted a picnic on our grounds and, had families participating and had a variety of different activities. And during the holidays, we do a giveaway for 2 flat screen TVs, 2 beat sets, 2 laptops, 2 gaming systems. So, and I could go on, but it kind of gives you an idea of what we try to do to demonstrate our appreciation to everybody. And I will say that all of that is nice, but it would be nothing if we didn't already have a relationship where there was a mutual respect and people felt comfortable interacting with everybody as an organization. So we very much have a team culture. And then ahead of the curve, when you go out on a tour, you're going to see a very state-of-the-art facility. You will notice that our press room might not be the largest in the country, but it's most certainly the most state-of-art in that we have all 3 Sunday presses. I think 7 years is the oldest one. And then we have a new KV and sheet fed press and a new digital press as well. And then when you go into our finishing area, we've greatly enhanced our capabilities there, going from several stitching lines, actually tripling our stitching lines, introducing perfect binding capabilities and other ancillary pieces of equipment. So it's a very large facility with a lot of capabilities in it, and you kind of don't think about all of the applications that go into making a catalog or magazine until you tour the facility. Any questions on any of that? So I kind of jumped ahead of myself, and you'll see that 10 years ago we were $25 million in sales. Today we're north of 50, and in the upcoming 5 to 10 10 years, we will be an $80 to $100 million company. And I say that with certainty because we're on track to meet that goal. So what we've done is all of our investments in both equipment and real estate have allowed us now to compete with the largest printers in the world, which are Quad and Dime. You've probably heard for sure of Quad, Wisconsin-based organization. And our asset base allows us to be competitive from a pricing perspective, but because we're a small personal company, we can offer our clients greater flexibility and more of a personal one-on-one touch. We've added onto this facility multiple times, ran out of land, so we just constructed a 60,000 square foot warehouse in the industrial park in town here. And we have enough acreage there to duplicate the size of this facility, and over time we'll continue to add on to that. With all of those real estate expenditures and capital equipment expenditures, we're debt-free. So we're in a very strong fiscal position that allows us to continue to take our profits and reinvest them into the business, which continues to offer career opportunities for everybody that works here. We're at over 250 employees, nearing 300 employees at this point. I mentioned earlier that we just celebrated our 70th anniversary, and we're pretty much a 24/7 operation. We're a relatively flat organization from a leadership perspective, and then we have managers and supervisors that report up through this different reporting structure. So the main departments in our company are pre-press, press, finishing, and distribution from a production perspective. Pre-press is where the files come in from the clients, the images are put onto the printing plates, they're then hung on to press where the product is printed, finishing is where it's bound together, and then distribution is where it's shipped out. So I talked a little bit earlier about the power of print and how people think that it's a historic industry when in fact it's not. And so I've talked a little bit about this. I've talked about our culture. This is a snapshot of our picnic that we just had last month. And you'll see that we try to do a lot of fun things that are also educational things. So we celebrate we celebrate the employees. We do things like celebrate Customer Service Week. We had a bunch of different activities. We took our project managers off-site and did a team building exercise in Madison where they went to the escape room. We split them into 2 groups and they had to escape. We talked a little bit earlier about our benefits and I'd like to get into our training program. So when somebody starts working for us, we assign a mentor to them. And depending upon what position they're in, there's a very set guideline in terms of what that mentor is going to make sure that new employee understands about the position. And then we also have opportunities when they're either in press or finishing where they're working with people with a higher skill set. So when we have a position open, we post internally first, and then those individuals have a better chance of advancing because they've worked with that individual that has that higher skill set. And so they might, we have examples of people in finishing that started out as a finishing associate, which is our entry-level position in that department, are working on a stitcher. They've advanced to where they can set up sections of that stitching line, and then they've gone into an operator trainer role, and then they've gone into a full-blown operator position itself. So they're starting out at $14 an hour. If they're on the night shift, they're making $15 an hour, and then they have the opportunity to make $25 plus. In the press room, they start out at 15, night shift is 16, and then they can advance to $27, $28 plus in that capacity as well. Community involvement, we're very involved with the community. We encourage our employees to be involved with the community. We also take a very strong interest in in recycling and doing things, for the environment. Quality is very important to us. We are a high quality printer, so we are known for that and our flexibility, and then again our touch points with our clients. I'll just give some additional examples. We have a lot of examples where somebody came in and started out entry level. We have one gentleman that came in the day after high school. Started out as a 4th press operator, which is entry level. worked his way up to a first press operator, ultimately into a supervisory role, and is now the manager of our press department. We have other individuals that started out in that same career pathway. That gentleman has now advanced to where he's scheduling all of the production that goes through the facility. I talked a little bit earlier about people coming in entry level and finishing and working their way up, through the operator ranks. We have some individuals that have now moved into leadership roles as well. And, not unlike what Kelly was explaining earlier, all of that was done from a high school education, coming in, having a mechanical ability, a passion for what they're doing, and, advancing through opportunities within our organization. We've had people that have started out in our operations department that have grown into administrative roles, and this talks a little bit about that. 90% of what we produce mails, so we have a mailing department that works in that capacity. This person went from a finishing associate into a postal analyst. We've had people that have gone from being an operator and have taken a career pathway into being a maintenance technician. They had more experience from a mechanical perspective. We've been instructing them on the electrical aspect of it and giving them additional education in that capacity as well. So from a high school perspective, again, as Kelly indicated earlier, a lot of what you're teaching in the classroom is a lot of what's still important here. The soft skills, the ability to do the basic math, the ability to interact and communicate effectively is all very important. Computer skills are very important. Again, you will see on the tour that we have a very automated facility. And so the computer skills are a necessity from that perspective. And then I talked a little bit about this, but characteristics of a successful person, we hire for passion. We can teach them print, but we're looking for somebody that's really excited about what they're going to be doing. And those kids might not understand that when they're first coming in, but when you have somebody that's just enthusiastic and looking to find their way in life, and you get them into the right position, that passion starts, and then you continue to develop them from there. We talked about, printing not being a dying industry, and you can see from this, I went out in Indeed, and you can see right here the current job ads that I found just in this area alone in print. You can also see that there's almost 900,000 people employed in the printing industry, and that our industry is accountable for $84 billion in annual revenue. So if you take a look here at what somebody from Madison College is going to start out at with a 2-year associate degree, and then you take a look at what our average earnings are, with the difference being the part-time employees, we are above where somebody could make if they came out of a 2-year degree as an average salary. And they don't have, that tuition repayment and everything else. Royle University is a program that we started 4 years ago. So we take a group of high potential employees, around 10 to 12 individuals on an annual basis, and we put them through Royle U. We have them spend time in every department within the company, and they do that 1 day a week for a good portion of a year. After they get done in that program, we sit down with them and we create a career development plan with them, because somebody might be impressed and not realize that they had a propensity towards accounting and they want to somehow get into that kind of a position. So we put that career development goal together for them to help them to reach that end goal. Out of the prior 3 years, every individual that participated in this program advanced either in their career path or they went through a different career path and are continuing to expand that way as well. When you take a look at the positions that we have available, finishing associate would be entry level. That's again working in our bindery where you're taking sections of that catalog or magazine and making it a finished product. Entry level is $29,000 a year, and mid-level is $32,000 a year. So you can see that somebody coming out of high school can have a very nice earning income in that position. Material handlers are entry level around $31,000 with the mid-level at around $37,000. Stitcher operators are $37,000 entry with a high level of around $52,000. And again, there's countless examples of people coming in that entry level and then advancing themselves into this type of position. People have also advanced from the shop floor into project management, which is really the individual that is responsible for the client's project from the time of sale through distribution. And their average compensation is $51,000. Press operators, you can see that a lead press operator can work themselves up to $53,000 plus. What's really nice about press is that they're working with a set crew, and they have a distinct set of responsibilities when that press is up and running, where they're responsible for one end of that machine. But when we're going through the make-ready process, they're working with people with a much higher skill set, so every day they're continuing to learn, and they advance. Maintenance, you can see high level is $65,000, and if you have an electronic or electrical background, it can go higher than the $65,000 as well. Any questions?